on this rap-ish. I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list. Hope I ain't missing my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu. And I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's out to Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. Me? I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That Dre season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my old flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete, I'm a verbal athlete. Deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building, my whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
I just want to live. God protect me. I just wanna live. I just wanna live.
Welcome everybody to the Morning Update Show. Happy Thursday for you, as I like to say, Friday Eve. Here with my guy Big O. What's up, Big O?
Yo, I'm still used to the camera setup and everything. I'm tweeting last minute while you talking, man. Ain't no hiding it.
Yeah.
Man, good morning. How are you?
I'm well, doing good, man. Had a great night last night, doing good. I know you had a great night.
Yeah, very great night last night, and we'll touch on that here in a second. Want to welcome everybody to the Morning Update Show. I'll remind you that right now is a perfect opportunity for you to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people who you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Want to give a big shout out to our partners over at KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. And also want to remind everybody that you can listen to the Morning Update Show anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. They got SoundCloud right there on the screen and in the links, but you can also go to Google, Spotify, iTunes, wherever. Oh, and I also want to recognize Soundcasting Network. So Soundcasting Network, they've been managing our podcast for us and doing a great job with that. Man, it's that season we've been talking about. It's no excuses season. The general election is coming up. A great way to support Black-owned media and letting people know it's no excuses. Just go to whereweconverge.com/shop and go ahead and pick up some gear. As usual, Trey Holiday, I'll let people know that the vaccine is free and available in King County. We got a link in the comments. And actually, King County Councilmember Girmay Zahilay is going to join us here in a bit. And I think the number one thing he wants to talk about is what's going on with COVID. And the governor's made some announcements. The Delta variant is running wild. It's kind of crazy. But just to reiterate that if you're looking for the vaccine, all three are available here in King County free of charge. Just click the link right there. In some cases, people can actually come to your house and vaccinate you as well, if that's what you want to do. Keeping it on the vaccination as usual, man. Our vaccine stories, you can visit our website, whereweconverge.com/post. And, you know, we've been leaving some space and grace for people who are vaccine hesitant as well. And one of the things we talked about yesterday is with this pending FDA decision about a booster shot being required after 8 months, then, you know, it's making the hesitant more hesitant. And actually, like I said, I've been in contact with public health, Seattle, King County, as well as the Department of Health in the state of Washington, and trying to talk to them about guidelines and communication with people about this booster shot. And we'll be able to update you guys more thoroughly. And maybe the council member might have some info on that as well.
You know, the thing that I really find interesting about this too is that as we're seeing more and more people get vaccinated, we're also seeing the cases of those who've been vaccinated catching COVID. So there's a multitude of reasons why people are saying hesitant out here, because, you know, originally the idea was, hey, you're less likely to get COVID, was still possible. But I know several people who've been vaccinated that still got COVID, man. So it's one of those things, bro. Yeah.
And a part of it, and this is why I think we're going to have Dr. Duchin here in 2 weeks, because there's a few things that plays into that. You know, it's like the vaccine was made basically against one strain or variation of strains or something like that. And it's the COVID keeps mutating, as we see now with this Delta strain. And so it's like they're probably not getting the original strain that the vaccine was made for. Now it's another strain that's out there. But there is lots of information that needs to be sorted through. And we want to be able to give as much information to the people in our community and beyond, especially those that are vaccine hesitant. What do we got here? What's up next? Oh, our campaign continues. Get Jake.
Unbelievable, man. He's the best player in the world. I'm glad he's on my side. And going into a game 7, you want the best player in the world on your side.
The backyard got mountains in it. I do not move until my accountant finish. Big mason jars, each one an ounce.
All right, that's right, everybody. You know, go on over to Instagram, get our guy Jake over this amazing benchmark of 10,000 followers. He's almost there. He needs your help. Go ahead and follow walk.into.the.light so you guys can be catching up on all the things that Jake has going on his IG. Amazing photos.
Yeah, and so now next thing is with Jake was there last night, and you were there, man. Everybody was there. Believe it or not. Converge got an award. Yeah. This is from the Washington Association for Justice. Why don't you go ahead and put that tweet up there, Curtis? A special congrats to Amari Salisbury, Converge Media. I'm receiving WSAJ's 2021 Excellence in Journalism Award. So, you know, we was crew thick as we usually do, you know what I'm saying? But it was real nice yesterday at the top of the Columbia Tower, the Columbia Tower Club. You know, and lots of special people were there, including you, for a really, really great moment. You know, we don't win a lot of awards and stuff over here. And this was a real special moment with all my special people.
You know what? It really was special. And you know what else was special about the moment and the night was your speech, man, you know, because you always make sure to give credit where credit is due. You know, I loved, you know, how you talked about, you know, looking in the mirror for responsibility. And for me, there was really so much greatness at what you said. Plus, you had the crowd cracking up as always, man. Hey, you know, so, Omari actually was in the suit. You guys see that in the photo.
I would tell you guys. So I was walking around through there for about 40 minutes before everything started last night, and nobody recognized me. And even I was standing next to the stage, and they're like, "Yo, Omari, where's Omari?" No one's ever seen me in it. I think they expect me to show up in the Converge sweatshirt and a hat, because I was standing right there. I was like, "Yo," and I was telling you, I was like, "This is weird, Trey. There's people who've been on our show, but they don't recognize me." I wanted to read this inscription here real quick. It's the 2021 Excellence in Journalism Award presented to Amari Salisbury, Converge Media, and it says, "For being the voice of reason, honesty, humanity, and transparency when our country needed it most." I was like, yo, I mean, man, so, man, thank you WSAJ. That was like, it was a good feeling last night.
It really was. And I think all the honorees really last night, showcased that moment in their work, in their legacy, how they're really being very equal to justice in their work. And so I just loved that. It was a great time.
All right. So we got a handcrafted motion graphic here because we got Councilmember Girmay Zahilay, King County Councilmember. Big dog. Quaker too.
I know.
And I don't know. He said he's short on time because we were going to let him redeem himself here today. This was back in July 18th where we seem to have some technical difficulty with the electric. You see, he was wearing a Franklin shirt then too.
Oh man, sometimes it's one of those things. I just gotta say, I don't know that I've seen a bulldog mess up on the electric slide. No digs, all love.
Well, he said he blamed it on Coach Down.
Yeah.
So it's all Blitz, but Blitz kept it real. Blitz was like, he can see how we go. Yeah. We're gonna take a quick break right now. When we come back, we're joined by King County Councilmember Girmay Zahilay. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Hey guys, it's Besa Gordon from Converge Media. You can catch me on my show Rewind with Besa, which airs every other Saturday at 2 p.m. anywhere you watch Converge Media. Now, I know a lot of us still have questions about the COVID-19 vaccine. However, here are a couple things you don't have to question. Everyone 12 years and older in Washington State are now eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. It's free, and you don't even need insurance or citizenship status to get vaccinated. If you still have questions, and I know you probably do, you can visit kingcounty.gov/COVID for additional information. You can also call the King County COVID-19 call center at 206-477-3977 to get COVID-19 and the vaccination questions answered, get translation services if needed, set up an in-home vaccination appointment for yourself or someone you know may not be comfortable at a vaccination site due to a disability, anxiety, or other reasons. Look, with summer being here, now is the time to get all your COVID-19 vaccination questions answered so we can all get out the house and live our best lives again.
Market Street Shoes, slinging kicks since 2006, with styles that support you and yours, getting the F outside or staying comfy when you just want to lounge indoors as well. But wait, Market Street Shoes is way more than just a shoe store. Gear up for your next outdoor adventure with apparel and accessories that'll have you looking good on the streets, the trail, or even in your own backyard. With locations in Ballard, Redmond, and online at marketstreetshoes.com, there's undoubtedly a style and size that'll fit your lifestyle.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. My name is Omari Salisbury, joined by Trey Holiday right here. And right now, we want to welcome King County Councilmember Girmay Zahilay. Welcome back to the Morning Update Show.
I'm back. I don't feel that welcome because the way y'all roasted me before I got here.
You be all right, man.
I get it. Like, I came in wearing the Quaker stuff. I'm talking to some Bulldogs. I know how it goes.
Oh man, yeah. We won't hold it against you too much. You're doing amazing work as King County Council member. You set it on your campaign trail, and I just feel like you're really one of those people that has been holding firm to your commitment to community, all the things that you said you wanted to do during your campaign. So congratulations to everything.
Thank you so much, Triana.
Absolutely.
And congratulations to y'all too. I know you just won an amazing Excellence in Journalism Award, completely deserved. I noticed that Omari dresses differently now moving forward. Wow. And I just want to shout him out. No more hats, dress shirt.
My daddy on set today. That's why I put on a shirt. He leave back out of town. I'm putting back on my Converse. Hey, before we jump into it, too, I want to acknowledge something. That literally just days after you got elected until today, Every time we picked up the phone, you've come. You've been to every single studio that we've had. You've never said no. I mean, and that's why when I reached out to you, I said, it's our first week in our new studio. You know what I'm saying? It would be a pleasure and an honor for you to come here because you've been well before even COVID and well before the protests and all that. Man, you would come right there to the Central District. And we would do interviews and everything else. So I want to appreciate your commitment, to community media.
Thank you so much, Omari, and to you, Trayana. Like, y'all are really putting out the important information out there for our community. So for me, it's a win-win. I get to come out here, share important information and updates with our community, and that's really valuable. So I appreciate y'all.
Absolutely.
Right. And now, but I'm gonna talk to you after the show. I need some bald head guy tips.
Are you coming home?
Because you're always like, ooh, man, it's crazy. We're gonna talk. All right. So the big thing going on right now, it's been a big thing, but right now, especially COVID, the governor's made some announcements and everything else. Man, why don't you update everybody as to what's going on?
Yeah, I'm here to ring the alarm. I want people to know that COVID has come roaring back. And we're not in a good place right now. The levels of cases that we're seeing every day are approaching the peak levels that we saw last winter. So it's come roaring back, and we need people to take this seriously as they took it back last winter and all of last year, because again, we're in a bad place. I'm wearing my mask right now because the governor just announced that the mask mandate is back for all indoor public gatherings. You need to be wearing a mask because it's that bad. And I'll tell you a little bit more about our hospitals and everything, but that's one of the things that I want to come here to talk about.
Well, I think it's important because one of the reasons why folks need to hear this message is because I think there was a misnomer that, as the vaccine came out, as we saw kind of the numbers dwindle, that's where we are. And so really being re-engaged with this, understanding not just these multiple variants as we were talking about earlier, but also I think people being a little bit looser with the fact that they thought, okay, it's okay for me to be out like this now. I don't have to worry about that. What are some of the things you really want people to understand?
There's another crisis that we're dealing with that we're not talking enough about, and that's the crisis of misinformation. Right now, everybody has a platform. Everybody's out there on social media. Everybody thinks if they've done a little bit of research that they are now the expert, and now they're sharing misinformation out there. And that's really dangerous because life and death is on the line right now. And I just want people to know to trust credible sources. There are epidemiologists, nurses, doctors, public health officials who've been doing this work for decades, and they're the ones we should be listening to. I understand that people have a natural mistrust of government, but it's not government that's creating these scientific bases of these decisions. It's public health officials. So we gotta listen to them. Recently, I updated my Facebook and my Twitter and my Instagram saying that our hospitals are in really bad shape. Our beds in our hospitals are at capacity or beyond capacity. Some of our hospitals have the most patients that they've ever had in their history of the hospital. And that's primarily being driven by unvaccinated people. And then the backlog of medical conditions that people haven't been getting treated because the hospitals were so full right now. Imagine how dangerous that is if we have full hospitals. That means it's not only COVID that could kill you. If you get into a car accident, you might not be seen in time to get treated. If you have a heart attack, if you have any of the number of emergencies that could happen, a full hospital is as dangerous as anything else. And I posted about this, and people started commenting in the comment section saying, hey, actually at Swedish Hospital, it's an equal number of vaccinated and unvaccinated people in the hospital beds. And I was like, wait, am I going crazy? That can't be true. So I called up Swedish hospital's leadership and I said, is it true that you have an equal number of vaccinated and unvaccinated in your hospital beds? They said that is absolutely false. 91% of the people who are choking to death in our hospitals from COVID are not fully vaccinated. Only 9% are fully vaccinated. But because people have a platform, they're out there sharing wrong things, and that's so dangerous.
I think people need to also understand that there's organized bad actors at play
Yeah.
in this misinformation. I mean, it was crazy because even last year during the Seattle protests, you know, when we were tracking all of these tweets and things that were coming in, they're coming in a lot of them from foreign countries, coming in from Eastern Europe, coming in from all kinds of troll farms and everything else. So we need to remember that, you know, here across our country, a lot of misinformation. Yeah, there's the one person who read something somewhere and they just retweet or say something, but there's also a concerted effort, especially in our community, for a spread of misinformation. And so not only do we have the virus working against us and people casually giving misinformation, but, you know, it very well could be government actors and things like that are seeding misinformation in our country. Why do you think there's, especially for our community, like I see the news, so there's different groups of people who don't want the vaccination. Like in Olympia yesterday, there were people who were like, look, I'm not against vaccination. You go get vaccinated. I'm against the government trying to tell me what I can do. So we got those people that are over there. Clearly you got the anti-vaxxers, but they're just always going to be anti-vaxxer. In our community, why do you think, you know, at this point that hesitancy is actually on the rise?
Yeah, that's a great question, Omari. So what I'm about to say is not based on data. Like I haven't done the data to find out like why certain people are hesitant and others are not. But just from my personal experience, what I've seen, there are the crowds that you said are just against government telling them what to do, no matter what it is. Even though obviously, you know, government tells you what speed limit you could go on the freeway. Government tells you how clean your restaurant has to be in order to serve food. So government tells you based on, you know, our collective understanding of what's safe or not. So those are those people. But in our community specifically, I feel like it's just a mistrust of, I don't know what's going into my body and I'm afraid of that. That's what I'm seeing very regularly when I talk to people in our Black community, in our local African-American, East African communities. It's literally, I'm afraid of something going into my body that I don't know about. And for those community members, I think what's really effective is seeing people like you all share right information. It's okay to be nervous about it. Of course, something going into your body, so you want to be cautious about it. But all of the data shows us this is safe and it's saving lives. And people like you and I are getting it and taking it ourselves. I would not be out here recommending something that I myself haven't taken. I've taken it. I've recommended my own mother take it. My family members take it. And it's the only way we're going to get through this. If enough people get vaccinated and socially distance and wear masks again, that's the only way we're going to see the drop off in cases that we saw this spring.
Well, you know, I think that is really interesting because one of the things that I'm really seeing out there when you talk to certain folks is this line drawing between the sand, right? Of like, oh, I don't even want to be around you if you're not vaccinated. And I find that right now is not the time for us to have that kind of, you know, isolation and working in silos. Like, I mean, I understand comfortability, but I think that there's something that must be said or addressed about how people are responding to that fear and the anxiety of it all. What are some of the things that you've been seeing out there in terms of people maybe getting over that or maybe able to, again, have these kind of conversations with folks that, you know, I'm vaccinated, you're not vaccinated, but we can have a discussion, right? How is that kind of maybe happening in our communities?
Trey, you bring up a great point because I don't think it's an effective tactic to walk around and shame people, embarrass people, belittle people for not being vaccinated, because oftentimes it's coming from a place of mistrust and you have to build that trust to get them there. And building trust doesn't come from a place of disrespecting them, like you said before. And I think that trust comes from credible messengers. We need people who have trust and relationships in communities to communicate what's true and not true about vaccines, what the benefits are, and have that really honest conversation. I know, you know, Dr. Danielson has been out there on a lot of Zooms and sharing information. Dr. Anissa Ibrahim, who I went to high school with at Franklin, she's out there communicating these as well. And so I want to try to have more credible messengers on platforms with me to try to communicate to people who are worried or nervous about this.
Yeah, I think people need to remember that, especially in our community, man, a lot of us been getting shamed our whole life over one thing or another. And so just, that's why, like, you know, we're real intentional. So clearly we want to be able to communicate public health has been our partner from day one.
Mhm.
So we want to be able to communicate the information, public health, of what's out there, what's accessible, and everything else. But we've been intentional not to just have one-way communication here.
Mhm.
We want to, like I said, leave a lot of space and grace for people, because I want somebody who's hesitant to feel comfortable to come on here and to be able to share their experience. Because when you talk about a credible message, a lot of times what's happening as well is the people who we're messaging to, they don't get an actual fair platform.
Mhm.
So we're leaving a lot of space for people who are hesitant
Mhm.
and want to be able to talk about it and talk to them. And we can't let another thing here divide our community even more.
Yep.
Because one thing I can tell you for sure is that the more space that we leave around this issue, there's organized entities that are out there that come specifically to fill these voids.
Yep.
And if you know what I'm saying, if we leave that space out there, for pretty soon you'll see these campaigns. Another thing that I saw that's happening, not so much here in Seattle, but across the country, is where people are like, oh, okay, I got to be vaccinated to go into your restaurant.
Mhm.
Cool. We're just going to boycott your restaurant.
Yep.
So, what I'm saying, this divide is growing by the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, one of the things that I really want to address with you while we have you here on the set is away from COVID, but connected, because when you wrote that piece about looking at gun violence, the same ways that we're looking at COVID as a public health crisis, I've been able to use quotes from that time and time again when I'm having these discussions. And we see it now. We see it again. Governor Inslee just telling us to mask up again. We see this kind of communication coming around our safety when it comes to COVID, but we do not see enough of this kind of communication when it comes to addressing this issue and a public health issue and crisis around gun violence. What are some of the things that you see happening out there on the ground after you really wrote that article? Because it was so inspiring. It really was.
Thank you so much, Trey. I just think it provides us such a perfect template to call people out and call them in about their response to gun violence. Because when we have COVID-19 pandemic, we see clear communication regularly about the pandemic from every level of government. We see coordination across every level of government. We see tons of resources being deployed over and over again to respond to this issue. And frankly, that's because it impacts a broader set of communities, whereas people perceive gun violence to be, that's their issue over there. Even though I might be afraid walking over it, that's not my kids that are dying. You know what I'm saying? That's the feeling that I get. But if we really treated gun violence like the pandemic that it is, we would see way more coordination, way more resources, way more communication. And I have started to see the topic now elevating in the candidates who are running for mayor, for example. I see them talking about it more. I'm seeing, go ahead, Omar.
Please.
Yeah, I'm seeing a little bit more traction, but it's still not the level that I would want it to be to really solve this issue.
Yeah.
And I hate to put it like this, Councilmember Zahilay, but it's like I've time and time again, not only on our platform, but on Cairo FM, on KUOW, I've had to point to you as somebody who was willing to just show some empathy and some humanity around this issue of gun violence. And I mean, because that's something that you do, and you being out there and really being in touch, not only with your constituents, but being in touch with the humanity in our city and county, have set an example that an elected official doesn't have to comment on the specifics. They don't have to comment on, well, it was this or that. What they can comment on is there was a family impacted, a community impacted, our psyche as a city, our humanity is impacted, and people have intentionally stayed so quiet. And I just want to acknowledge the fact that you've been consistent in giving voice and dignity and humanity to these victims of gun violence here in our city.
Thank you so much, I really appreciate that. And, these are our family members. These are our community members, and they have human dignity, and we have to say that and talk about it and not just, walk around thinking about the legalities and things like that. This is a human being who was killed, and we have to really elevate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Omari and I talk about it almost every single time that there is another shooting. We immediately start thinking about, man, do we know the parents of this person? Do we know the siblings? Do we know somebody in the family? There's such a small degree of separation oftentimes, particularly in Black communities, where we see this gun violence really happening. And we realize, man, you know, a lot of times we end up knowing somebody and it hits us in a whole different way. And I think that that really plays a part in why we care about covering it the ways that we do.
Yep.
And, you know, we always call them out. We say, look, elected officials, where y'all at? How nobody else is speaking up?
You don't need a political consultant or strategist to show some humanity.
Share your heart.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not required to pull your constituents to show some humanity.
Yeah.
I know we only got you here for a few more minutes, so I wanted to touch on one or two things. I saw on your Instagram you were out there in Tukwila, and I think we got a handcrafted motion graphic over here. We'll put up on the screen. There it is. There's your Instagram right there. You're out there with the SEIU as they're on the picket line out there at Cascade Behavioral Health. I don't know if you saw the segment that Trey Holiday had put together a few days ago out there talking to some of the employees, nurses, and union officials. What were your thoughts? What brought you out there?
Frontline workers all around our region are burning out right now. They're burning out. Even when we were talking about gun violence just a moment ago, the outreach workers who go out and disrupt violence and do outreach and case management with people who are involved in gun violence, they're burning out too. Our hospital workers, our nurses, our doctors, they're burning out. And that's the side of this pandemic that we don't talk about enough. If a vast majority of our healthcare workers, our frontline workers burn out, that accelerates every other emergency that we're dealing with. And so I don't want government and leadership and business leaders to talk about frontline workers like they're heroes and give them the verbal affirmation of being heroes and not actually treating them like that. So whether we're talking about any hospital around our region or specifically this Cascade Behavioral Health out in Tukwila, there's understaffing. The frontline workers, the nurses, the medical professionals, they're out there working on a shoestring, you know, not enough people to cover. They're dealing with violence inside their workplace. They're dealing with wages that are not living wages. Every year, our region is getting more expensive. They're having to be pushed out farther and farther away from their places of work. So I just go out there to stand in solidarity with these workers. A lot of them are immigrants. A lot of them are Black. A lot of them are low income, of course, because that's their job isn't paying them enough. And so we just have to stand with them and build the pressure that's needed for them to have safe working conditions and a living wage.
You know, I was really shocked by some of the stories that they shared, and we couldn't even capture it all in the piece that we had. But the truth of the matter is that, wow, I mean, when you listen to some of these stories, it sounds like a whole movie script, man.
Yeah.
Some of the things that they've been dealing with for years.
Yeah.
And the part about it for me that was so touching was that it's not just affecting them as workers. They then have to take that home. You know,
Absolutely.
It's affecting the way that they deal and connect with their families. And so I'm glad to see that you were out there. I think so much of what we can do is find those senses of solidarity anywhere that we can have them. And I know that, again, they were out there for days before the union was even out there with them. I mean, it was the drive of these workers who were ensuring that people understood what it was they were going through. But this is nothing new to us in Black communities.
It's not.
We have seen time and time again that those that are the most affected are the ones that have to be the ones to speak up the loudest, to make sure that they ring the alarm when it comes to certain instances like this. So I agree. I'm just glad that you were out there.
If we don't stand up for each other, no one else will. And I that's one thing that I said to them when I got up and gave the speech yesterday when I was talking to those workers. My mom is a nursing assistant. Throughout my whole life, she was having to work not only double shift and graveyard shift, but sometimes triple shift, like 24 hours in a day just to pay the bills at a public housing arrangement. You know what I'm saying? And it would be one thing if this kind of work that nursing assistants and stuff do helps you climb up the economic ladder over time and you can buy a house and a car and take care of your kids. But we all know that's not the case. My mom worked double shift, triple shift my whole life until she blew out both of her knees. And now she's disabled and can't work anymore. And that's what this economy that we have in this country does to so many people. It uses their bodies, burns them out until they can't work anymore. And that's just not right. We can't keep having a system like this. We got to advocate for each other. We got to organize. We got to show up. We got to march and break this cycle.
Absolutely.
All right. So before we let you go, we're going to jump in the time machine here. So we're going to take you back to 2019. And you just got elected. And we did, at the time we're doing dropping gems. We need to bring dropping gems back. And yeah, man, look at you. You look so happy. And by the way, this was Studio A, and it was. This looks crispy. You'll be able to see it down there. Here you are telling people how to run for office.
This is Girmay Zahilay, your new King County Councilmember elect for District 2, and I'm dropping gems. So many resources are out there to tell you why you should run for office, whether you're ready, but there aren't that many resources that tell you how concretely to run for office. And I found that as a challenge, and hopefully this video helps you respond to that. Step one, you should talk to a political consultant because they are a wealth of knowledge. They do this professionally and they can tell you concretely what to do. So I would Google Seattle political consultant, and as things come up, just have a consultation with them. If you get a coffee with them, they'll tell you just everything you need to know, and they won't charge you for that consultation coffee. Step two, you should identify the people in your life who you could see acting as your campaign manager, your field director. These are people who you trust enough to work with you and who are also hard workers and who can manage your campaign with you. Step three, you should identify your fundraising base. That means going through your phone contacts, your email contacts, your Facebook contacts, putting them into a spreadsheet, and next to them, their names, putting the dollar amount that you think that they would donate to your campaign. That way you get a good sense of how much you think you can fundraise. And once it's time to run, you can just pick up those people and go through that list and just call them up for money. And unfortunately, campaigns are really expensive, and that's what it's going to take no matter how uncomfortable you feel doing it. I did it. You can do it too.
Did do it. You did it well, my friend.
One thing I gotta say quick is that this government job ages you, because I was looking like I look a smooth 19 years old, and now I'm an old man. So
not at all, not at all. You're doing great work out there. We appreciate you every time. Like Omari said, every time we call, you come. And really, you always come with a solid message for the audience and for the community. And it's because you're staying plugged in. You're not a figurehead at all. And I think that what you're doing really helps others to identify and understand that trust among our elected officials can be built when we have folks that are being authentically themselves and really caring for community in the role. So again, just, I'm proud of what you're doing out there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Trayona.
King County Councilmember Girmay Zahilay, thank you for taking time this morning.
Always a pleasure.
Talk to you about this.
Yeah, I got you.
Also, we're going to have you sign the wall here in a second, okay?
Right, sounds good.
We're going to take a quick break right now. When we get back, we got my dad in the building. We got a handcrafted motion graphic for that one too. James Salisbury Jr. Oh, there, look at that picture right there. You talk about aged, man. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
Hey, it's me, downtown Seattle, C-Town. Wish you were here. Here, to explore inside, outside, and everywhere in between. Where it's easy to get my good side. Here, where my rooftops invite you to come early and stay late. Where every view is a postcard, and each night out might be your best night ever. See you soon. Love, C-Town.
The story of Converge Media did not start at the Seattle protests or at the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, nor 4 years ago when we very first opened our doors. The true story of Converge Media is firmly rooted in the legacy of Black media heroes of yesterday, whose shoulders that we stand upon today. Converge Media is firmly rooted in the pioneering spirit of Horace Caton Sr., who over 125 years ago launched the Seattle Republican newspaper alongside his wife, Susie Revels Caton, a trailblazer in her own right, serving as the associate editor, a groundbreaking feat for a woman and especially a Black woman at that time. We are rooted in the visionary eye of Al Smith, who documented Black beauty, culture, vibrance, and excellence through his lens. We are rooted in the benevolence of Fitzgerald Beaver, who envisioned the Facts newspaper, the very same newspaper where my father, James Salisbury Jr., was a staff photographer over 4 decades ago. We are rooted in the broad and innovative shoulders of Chris Bennett, who with his Z-Twins radio took the story of Black excellence to the airwaves. We are rooted in the fearlessness of Roberta Bird Barr, who 56 years ago broke ground and shattered stereotypes as she hosted the TV show Face to Face that tackled issues of race and equity head on. We are rooted in the rhythms of Gordon Curvey, whose music Inner City brought our culture and vibes to TV screens across the Emerald City. Converge Media is also inspired by our contemporary icons. We are inspired by the commitment to storytelling from Tony B and Rainier Avenue Radio, and inspired by the passion and dedication of Marcus Harrison Green of the South Seattle Emerald. So you see, when you look at Converge Media today, and especially as we celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the Morning Update Show, just know that our story did not begin with us, nor will it end with us, as it is our duty at Converge Media to broaden our shoulders for the next generation of Black media innovators, to stand firmly upon them and to tell the stories of our community to generations yet to come. Share the stream. Yeah, all right. Welcome back to the Morning Update Show. My name is Omari Salisbury, joined right now by my lovely daughter, Acacia Salisbury. Matter of fact, I need to properly address you, a Converge Media producer and one of our early producers and directors, Acacia Salisbury. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. You know, Nikita Oliver was here yesterday. I was telling Nikita that the very first interview that Converge did with Nikita Oliver was when you interviewed them about the mutual aid.
Yeah, no, that was early in the.
Yeah, I mean, just saying, people don't see you that much these days on set, and so I want to make sure you acknowledge you're still around. She's doing all kinds of stuff with all kinds of, around the country and around the world and everything else. Yeah, we get responses from the public. They're like, "What's up with Acacia? Why Omi get all the airtime?" I'd be like, "Man, Acacia's on her grown woman biz. You know what I'm saying? She's outgrown her producer role at Converge."
Yes, yeah, no, I am doing fun things.
Well, good. Glad to see. Want to welcome to the set my father, James Salisbury Jr., here from Rocky Mount, North Carolina. What's up, Pops?
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here. I tell you, it is such a blessing, and it's such a blessing what you all are doing. When I first opened the studio in Seattle, 1000 Turner Way, the slogan on my card was Salisbury, a name to remember, the art of drawing with light. And to see it continuing through you, Omari, through you, Acacia, and Joshua, is a true blessing. And to be back in Seattle is quite exciting.
Right. So for people who don't know, so Joshua's Omi's middle name.
I don't know.
People are like, what? There's another one out there.
Well, no, we have always called him Joshua, just to distinguish between him and you when we're talking.
Okay, well, this is good stuff. Good. So we'll talk to you about a few things here. I'm always talking about Salisbury photography and talk about being a little kid in the dark room and some of everything else. At this point, that was decades ago, but maybe you can share with everybody about Salisbury photography.
Well, after graduating from Brooks Institute of Photography in Santa Barbara, we selected a city and to establish a photography studio, portraiture, and we selected Seattle. At that particular time, Seattle, because of its water, its energy, and so forth, and also have to say it was close to Canada, because remember, it was during the Vietnam War, and we were being grabbed up constantly. And so we thought for sure that by the time you guys got to be draft age, they might decide to grab you as well. So those are some of the motivations of coming to Seattle. But I was told by Boris Dobro, who was a professor at Brooks Institute, he said, Girmay, pick any city, go to it. And when you get there, don't ask for a job. It said, take your portfolio, go around and say, I would like to show you some photographs. And so I did that, and I stayed at the YMCA. And each day I would get out and walk to the various places. And I would always have for my food, Ivar's nectar, the nectar juice from the clam nectar or something to eat. And of course, Kendall Ellis Studios offered me a position down at Northgate, and I was photographing babies all day long. And then they brought me to the main studio to manage it, the Kendall Ellis Studio right downtown Seattle. And so that's how I got started in Seattle.
In the video that we just played, we played our acknowledgement video. It's a bit old now. We put it in March for the 1-year anniversary of the Morning Update show. But in there, I talk about Mr. Fitzgerald Beaver, rest in peace. And there was a photo that you took 40 years ago that was in the Facts newspaper.
Okay. Yes, I give all praise and thanks to Fitzgerald Beaver. I learned so many things from him, just in general conversation, watching him. He was also the main supporter of the Salisbury photography. And I was doing photography for the Facts newspaper. But it gave me an opportunity to discover the Central District, and not only the Central District, but all of the other things that happen in Seattle, from City Hall to the courthouses and so forth.
And you had Salisbury photography was in the CD.
Yes,
That's
it was
right.
in the CD. Yeah, it was in the CD, and there was something interesting about that. The first president of Liberty Bank, and I'm sorry I can't remember his name right now, he told me twice, he said, no, you should not be in the CD because with the kind of work you do, you should be down, right downtown in Seattle. And I could not help but think that this studio is right downtown in Pioneer Square in Seattle. It just sort of came back to me.
We made it. Well, we Trey. We trademarked the name Salisbury Photography.
Yes.
So Salisbury Photography is one of the trade names here for Converge Media. So it's actually, if you go to the Secretary of State, you go and look up Converge Media, one of the trade names is Salisbury Photography. Now this is a camera right here, yes. And maybe you could tell everybody. I told this story the best way I could. This is a camera that you handed over to me about 2 years ago, and I had shared this with our audience. Let me hand it to you, Dad. You can tell everybody what kind of camera it is and the story on it.
This was camera. It used a 1/620 film, but this camera my father brought back from France in World War II.
Why don't you hold it up a little bit?
Oh,
Dad,
okay.
So I can see.
So in World War II,
you keep it right there.
And back in those days, of course, you could get film for it and use it. And we have photographs at home that he's taken with it. It's quite old now. But just think about it. You had to measure distances. You had to calculate what the shutter speed would be and all of that. Because all of us taking pictures now, there's so many corrective things on our phone that do all of the work that you had to immediately calculate in your brain and then compose it and take a picture. But this was always in our family, and I was so honored to pass it on and know that it will keep going.
Good stuff. You got any questions for your Papa?
You just caught me off guard.
No, I know. It's sitting there listening.
I was right. So what year was this that you came to Seattle, Papa?
I knew someone would ask me that. I'm trying to remember.
I think you came in 70, maybe 74.
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood. I have to tell you, when the rest of the family came, when the train or the bus, one of them, turned where you could see the city on the main highway coming in, your brother immediately jumped up and he said, "Oh, look, they turned the lights on for us."
Yeah, and people who take people, I've been hearing this story my whole life. People who take I-5 north into Seattle, when you get around Beacon Hill,
yes,
and you can first see the whole city right there. They said it. My mom said that the Salisbury experience here in Seattle, they never turned the lights off. It's been an amazing experience. I got one more thing I wanted to share with you. Where'd it go? It's right there. Somebody hand it to me. So this right here, I wanted to give to you. We were in the Museum of History and Industry.
Yes.
Converge Media was. And with COVID and with the recovery of stepmom, Paulette, my bonus mom, people have been following that story as well. You guys couldn't come over here. And so you didn't get to see the exhibit in person. This is the actual original here that was on the wall in the Museum of History and Industry. It's not a replication or duplication. This was actually on the wall in the Museum of History and Industry. It's a photo on there of me taken by Jake Grabrot. And I know you couldn't make it to Mohi, so we're bringing Mohi to you.
Oh, what a blessing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I am so honored and so honored to have lived this long to see this continuation travel on. I'm serious. They talk. He's always talking about he cries a lot. I think he got a lot of it from me. but this is so special. I thank you so much for this.
Yeah, and so we'll box it up for you next door and send it down there. But
Okay.
I just wanted to be able to tell you that it's not until you really get older that you realize the all these gifts that you get from your parents. And I think that definitely I got an award yesterday you were there for journalism and storytelling.
Yes.
But you're the ultimate. You know what I'm saying? People ain't heard a story told until you've told it. And, back when I had time, I was an okay writer, but you're an outstanding writer. And so, I see where all these skills come from. And I think one other thing is that you're always quoting the Bible. We put a Converge mix on everything.
Okay.
You always say, I think it was Micah, you're like,
yes.
Do justice.
Yes.
Walk humbly. No, and then I'm on the live TV. Now I'm forgetting.
Okay. Do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly before God.
Yeah. So the Converge version of that is work hard, stay humble, take your ass home. that's the Converge remix on the Bible.
Oh,
verse.
that is a blessing.
Yeah.
That is a blessing. But just wanted to say this: the thing that really got me was during the riots and all of this type of thing was going on. I was watching everything, but I saw you when you told the rioters not to touch Chinatown. That's part of it, because I used to go down there all the time eating, and you better not go down the CD where my mama is.
Right.
But the compassion that you better not touch China. Those are small business people, and a lot of them live upstairs in those buildings. Oh, that, and I think the other night that really, I just couldn't stop crying was the lady you witnessed being hit by the car on the highway out there. But the one thing that I most enjoyed about the staff here and the reporting is that you not only report the story before you report the story that's going on behind you, and you report the story that is coming around the corner. That makes a big difference. Just to give you one little example, I was there when Dr. Martin Luther King gave his first I Have a Dream speech. I knew about him having to lay down in a hearse in order to ride to my high school gym because the Klan were out to get him. But the local newspaper printed about 2 or 3 lines about this fantastic event that changed the world and changed my life and changed 133 seniors in high school who made a decision that the world was going to change. This was always in my class. We always say, we are the people that we had been waiting for. But to look at how much of my city does not know the behind the scenes story of what that was all about, because the media did not or was biased. The Sunday and Evening Telegram in Rocky Mount was biased in their desire not to report what an earth-shaking event this could be. And of course, I caught the first Chicken Bone Express after graduation out of high school to look for There's a New World Somewhere. And that's the part you are reporting, and I love it. I want to say continue to do it. As I told Treya yesterday, you hit the nail, you hit the hammer on the nail. You also make it a point to bring the news where the leather meets the road. And that's important. So important, because if we don't tell the stories, if we don't tell all of the story, the scripture says, my people are lost for a lack of knowledge, or destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And I think that you do a good job when you're out there reporting all sides of what's going on so that the community is not blindsided on various issues. I get a lot of calls about whether we should take the virus shot or not. And of course, I am a supporter of wearing masks. But extremely close person in my life called me 3 times and she was crying and she said, I don't want to take this shot because it represents 666. I said, who told you it represents 666? Did you read the whole thing? Did you read the whole genre of what was there and what was being talked about? And I said, no, where's your faith? I said, go to Acts, I think 28th chapter, 2nd through 4th verses. There was a viper that if that viper just bit you, you would die instantly. I said, bit a man who had strong faith. And everybody else was sitting around the boat, oh, he's going to die in a minute. You have to toss it overboard, and so forth. And that was St. Paul. And of course, the viper not only bit him, he put his teeth into him and hung on to him. And he still didn't die. I'm not saying that this is where I'm saying have faith and start to study, start to pay attention.
Yeah, I mean, people definitely, this ignorance has never been in, but especially around this vaccine, people, you know what I'm saying?
That is so true.
We can't be ignorant. I mean, especially when all these resources are around us. We're at the top of the hour, Dad. I think I could sit and talk to you all day and all night. Anything else for you, Papa?
I don't have anything else.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We sit here, but I want to just tell you again. You get on the wide there, Curtis. I just want to tell you again that I mean, one, I can't wait to get back down to Rocky Mount.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? And Rocky Mount, North Carolina. That was one of our most beloved segments that we did down there when we hung out there at your house.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. When we hung out there. But two, like I said, man, I want to say thank you. You know, it's part of this. Like we're here today, and I can say this is that because I seen what's possible. I grew up knowing what's possible. So what? A studio in Seattle? Yeah, I could do that. You know what I'm saying? My pops did that. I was a little kid. So it's in my lived journey. It's literally my DNA. So a lot of things that even other people might encounter as an impossibility decades ago, you know what I'm saying? When I wasn't even thinking about media or anything, y'all proved it was possible. And that possibility is still right here in another generation. You know what I'm saying? It's blossoming. And in another generation, you see right here, it's blossoming. And so I just want to tell you, thank you, Pops.
You're so welcome. I see it even clearer at my age, at the journey. And I'm so pleased and so thankful that God has blessed all of you to make this possible.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dad.
Thank
Love
you. Okay, sure. I love both of you.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. Trey Holiday is going to join us. We're going to get out of here. We're watching the Morning Update Show.
Hey, it's me, downtown Seattle, C-Town. Wish you were here. Here to explore inside, outside, and everywhere in between. Where it's easy to get my good side. Here, where my rooftops invite you to come early and stay late. Where every view is a postcard, and each night out might be your best night ever. See you soon. Love, C-Town.
Market Street Shoes, slinging kicks since 2006 with styles that support you and yours, getting the F outside or staying comfy when you just want to lounge indoors as well. But wait, Market Street Shoes is way more than just a shoe store. Gear up for your next outdoor adventure with apparel and accessories that'll have you looking good on the streets, the trail, or even in your own backyard. With locations in Ballard, Redmond, and online at marketstreetshoes.com, there's undoubtedly a style and size that'll fit your lifestyle.
All right. Welcome back to the Morning Update Show. Trey Holiday back on the set.
Hey, man, beautiful segment with the family. Oh, and as always, you know, we talk about your father so much, even on camera, off camera, and how integral his work is to what you've become today. So it's just beautiful to be able to share that with our audience.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's all about the views. He's gonna go and put this on every church group, every family group. We get a spike in viewership after today. But no, it's I'm just happy to be able to say that, you know, all these years in the Converge and all these years in a career in media, they're like, one, it's a blessing. They say it's a blessing if you can wake up every morning and get a phone call that says mom and dad and everything. So I'm blessed to have my parents in my life. But it's a real blessing. This old guy, man, sometimes we be up in the middle of you talking about, well, I don't get no sleep. I be up talking to this old guy in the middle of the night about all kinds of stuff, man.
Love it.
He got all, you know what I'm saying? And when it comes to just the actual fundamentals of photography, and it's nothing against the technology changes and everything, but my dad, I'm telling you, he can tell you all about a lens, how a light, you know, he knows physics, he knows optics, he knows like geometry and spacing and everything else, just the fundamental skills of photography that a lot of days, you know, it's point and shoot these days, you know, but he could break it down for you.
It's so beautiful, man.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I know we're over time, Trey Holiday, so I'll throw it over to you. Any last words for today?
Man, my last words, stay consistent because the message is necessary. Please see yourself as a part of the solution. We had Councilmember Girmay Zahilay on here, and for a long time, people have been telling him to run, and he did it at the right time because he knew he had to see himself as a part of the solution in a major way. We have, you know, Omari's father on here that was seeing himself as a part of the solution by being that guy with a camera when no one else was there, capturing moments that were so integral to our time and our community, and showcasing what it meant to be living in that moment. And I just hope you guys have been inspired and encouraged today to see yourself as part of the solution.
Yeah, and you know, I want to share this. Hope it's okay, Dad. Is that, you know, when people said that I just showed up out there with a camera, right, and everything else, well, my dad, you know, back when it was time to go to college, he went to Elizabeth City State University where me and my brother Kun and Toon went. He didn't have enough money for school. Talked to the chancellor and was like, yo, I ain't got no money for school, but I got a camera. And my dad worked as a college photographer and worked his way through college. And that's what I'm saying. You see it up there, Pops, no excuses. You know what I'm saying? Even all those decades ago. So once everybody, big show tomorrow. It's Feel Good Friday. We're going to have our favorite therapist, Ashley McGirt. Ashley McGirt's going to be in here from the Washington Therapy Fund Foundation. Also joining Ashley is Deontay Damper, also from the Washington Therapy Fund Foundation. You know, they I think they got some of the HSD funding. And so they're one of the 33 organizations that got HSD funding. So they're going to talk about that. And of course, we got Buki Gates. He's going to be telling us how the Kings, you know, they didn't quite win the championship down in Florida, but we're so proud of them. So Buki will be here tomorrow as well from Baseball Beyond Borders. Want to remind everybody tonight, 7 o'clock, is Clapback Culture with Julia Jesse and Mike Davis. So you want to tune in for that. And whew, what an amazing 24 hours it's been. It's really been thriving in it. We're going to get out of here. As usual, I want to remind everybody, go forward in your purpose, go forward in your humanity. And until tomorrow at 11 a.m., peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth in heaven ring with the harmonies
mercy. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought. Facing the rising sun.